Right, Matt, just check that for me, mate. How do I mute my mic on the thing temporarily? Yep. No. I mean, there's a volume
Welcome to Silverstone for what we're hoping to great day of racing. George will take part in 21 races this year on a variety of circuits, including 6 street circuits, Monaco, spectacular Melbourne, Singapore, and Bahrain. This year's challenge is really far on through their places, offering a variety of both technical and physical challenges for drivers and engineers to overcome. Lewis Hamilton has won the British GP on more occasions than any other driver currently competing in F1. Aston Martin strengthened their relationship with Red Bull this year by buying Paul Foster and Milton Keynes Racing. 2018 has seen McLaren sabotage Honda and opt for a power-using by Renault, a move sure to lead Fernando Alonso his contract towards the end of the 2020 season.
Hello, good evening and welcome to ESRL. Apologies for the slight delay on the setup then. First time streaming off the PC, so it is going to be a slight learning curve. So please do bear with for the technology dinosaur over here trying to work some stuff out. Including, how do I get my menu back? Oh no, I don't want to do that, do I? Okay. Not quite sure why everything is placed where it is. Yeah, I don't know how to change where the standards appear. It may appear differently on your screen as it is on mine. Simply because of the different resolutions, so apologies if things don't look great at the minute. I am just going to take a little peek on the stream myself and just make sure it's not unwatchable. Right, okay, so it does actually look exactly how it looks on my screen at the minute. I do apologise for that, guys, but nevertheless, we'll try and work around it and see how we go. Okay, so see if we can catch somebody on the lap now. I do believe Eisenborg here he was on the lap, and he goes 6th fastest with a 1:27.4. Okay, see if we can actually catch someone starting a hot lap. As at the minute, the pole sitter of B. Kakba is half a second clear of TF Martin. I believe that is the two McLarens there, obviously having to use the multiplayer cars at the minute because of the tyre wear not being equal on equal performance. Therefore, that would give an unfair advantage to a lot of drivers. I believe this is the Ferrari of F1 Warren. Just starting a lap now, coming towards the latter end of Sector 1. And we're going to hop on board, and I will take you through the rest of the lap as he pops out his braking point here down at turn 5, I believe it is, going into the hairpin. Wanted to get a sort of a wide entry and come in tight, about two-thirds away, 2/3 through the corner. There gives you a brilliant line all the way up into Copse here, as there is a slight lift, but keeping it pinned in 8th gear, really throwing the car in there. The car does cooperate. Coming up to Maggots and Beckett's now, where it's really important to get into the flow and get a nice consistent line, as you can see there on the right-hander. Just missing that apex, not getting as tight, running out wide a little bit, and that would have cost him a few attempts there, F1 Warren. Nevertheless, down the hanger straight now into the right-hander, and I think that's going to be invalid. Yes, I think that was invalid as he comes straight into the pits in order, I would imagine, to strap on brand new pair of shoes for F1 Warren there. As D. Sunharko, another new member, welcome. I must firstly say a big welcome to all the new members here at ESRL. Thank you very much for joining us, and we're looking forward to seeing you on track. I'm looking forward to commentating on the races with you as D. Sunha. D. Sunha, I'm not too sure how you pronounce that, so do forgive me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Looking like he's representing the Alpine, and not quite as bad as Warren through there, but still just not quite hooking it up on the latter part of Maggots and Beckett's there. Coming down the hanger straight now, throwing it into the right-hander. Can he keep it within track limits? Yes, he can. Track limits, of course, was a main talking point from the Grand Prix at Austria this weekend just gone. It seemed there was more laps deleted than laps actually valid, but D-Sun car crosses the line, pops him into P11 with a 1:28.4. Not a bad time there at all. Very respectful. I'm sure as the track ramps up he will go quicker. I don't think we've got anyone here on a hot lap. As, oh, Bitmappy going through the gravel there, taking a creative line, shall we say. Coming on to the back straight now. Of course, the old home straight, this part here. Okay, so there's a number of cars passing him. I wonder if any of those are on hot lap themselves. I think Vans is potentially on a hot lap here. We'll stick with him through to the end. He's got a very interesting livery there. Is that a matte purple? But he also goes wide and does invalidate his lap. I've got any of the front runners on a hot lap. I believe TF Martin is on a hot lap. Aces as well looks to be on a hot lap, and TF Martin is just behind him there. Hopefully they keep that gap there. Would not want the dirty air to affect the driver's times during qualifying. So TF Martin making his way up to Maggots and Beckett's now. First part nails it, second part nails it, third, that is very good, gets nice and tight on the entry there, and that curb just keeps him hooked in and gets perfect retardation as he's 4 tenths up on his previous time. If he can find another tenth or two in the last sector, this This could be a pole lap for TF Martin, taking a lot of the curb there, risking unsettling the car, but it seems to cooperate with him on this occasion. Now coming through the last part of the lap. This is going to be tight. This is going to be very tight, but it's pole. It is pole by 3/10. Fantastic lap there from TF Martin. Goes purple all the way through the lap of Silverstone, and really lays down a marker there to beat Kakba, who I believe is on a hot lap himself, and he's actually 2/10, almost 3/10 up on his time with a purple second sector. This is going to be interesting now. Takes a slightly different line through there than TF Martin. TF Martin was hooking that curb and using as much as he dares. B Kakba was kissing it a bit on the curb and then running out wide, and it's not pole. It's just under a 10th difference, but of course that will be a lockout for McLaren, I believe, if it is McLaren they're represented. It's very difficult to tell with these multiplayer cars. But yeah, Ace is getting into the 126 as well with 126.7. So the top three look to be fairly separated from the rest of the grid. As Bitmappy gets a 5-place grid penalty. I believe that was contact with Jack Alaka there somewhere. Not too sure what happened. Godzilla, he's 4/10 up on his time. It's not going to be enough for pole or even the front row, but he comes into the pits. Oh, he's invalidated. He's invalidated, that's why. Seb Marley, I believe, is on an outlap. Doesn't seem to be going particularly quick, so maybe it's a second warm-up lap for him. Eisenborg, however, also not on a hot lap. And now we've got Woodman representing the Verstappen.com livery there. Very nice with the black and red. Meanwhile, we've got Scott here, who is on a hot lap. And his Sector 1 time, he's actually down. He's almost 2/10 down on his previous time. Not ideal. Small lock up there, it seemed, or I'm not sure whether that was just the animation that sends him into a spin. The back end comes round and he could not save it. It's unfortunate for Scott there. Sure, he'll strap on a fresh pair of boots and go again. Now, I can't... we have 5 minutes left. I believe all the teams, well, pretty much all the teams and drivers now getting into the pits, fueling up for one last run. We shall see who is going to come out the pits first and set a lap. I believe Scott is also going to come into the pits, unless he's recharging his battery and trying again. But I would imagine, with such a little amount of time left now, he'll be coming into the pits, getting some new tyres on, getting back out there and trying to set a faster lap. He's got more time in him. I'm sure he's got more time in him. 127.9. I would expect to see him drop down into the mid 27s, get him a top 10 start. Well, he's 10th at the minute, but certainly could sneak into that top 8, maybe top 7. So we've got Godzilla, who is the first driver out for the last run. He is just making his way round Sector 2 now. Light flashing there, battery recharging. Okay, so Godzilla starting his final flying lap, powering up to turn 1 now. Misses the apex a little bit, but manages to carry good speed through 2, down into 3. Heavy braking zone, no locking here at the front or rears. Makes his way through there nicely. 4 again misses the apex, but seems to carry quite good speed out wide, as I believe he has abandoned the lap. Obviously not happy with missing a few apexes there on turns 1 and 4. Who have we got on a hot lap then? I think we got Aces now, who is just coming over to start his lap. I just got confused with the timing board there, but I believe he is now on a hot lap as he comes down towards turn 3. Seems to carry a little bit more momentum than Godzilla, and again, this looks to be a common theme. Drivers missing the apex on 4. I'm not sure whether that is just to push the car out wider, carry a little bit more minimum speed. But coming down into turn 6 now, the very long turn 6 where you need to be patient on the throttle. Turn 7, Aces decided to go out wide and cut back in nice and tight there, making his way down the old home straight, up in towards Cops. See if he can take Cops flat out, or whether there's going to be a small lift. There is a small lift, but keeps it in 8. Doesn't quite use all the track on the exit there. I think he could have carried just a little bit more speed, but that's invalidated. That is invalidated on the first part of Maggots and Beckett's, cutting the track there quite clearly. As we got B Kakbar now starting his final flying lap, and we've also got Marco starting his final flying lap. So this is the battle for pole right here between TF Martin and B Kakbar. Both drivers, of course, I believe representing McLaren. So we'll see what the sector time is now for B Kakbar. Pretty much level. I dare say he probably wants to go a little bit faster than that, obviously, to get pole, but TF Martin again pretty much level, just 6 thousandths in the green there for TF Martin, as B Kakbar now is making his way through Cops, and that is taking all of the car, using all of the track. That is how you take Cops, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, or whoever is watching. Through Maggots and Beckett's, again a brilliant line through there, but he's still pretty much level. He really needs to pull this sector 3 out the bag. As we're just going to hop back to Martin, see what his sector 2 time is. And he's actually going even quicker, not by much, but quicker nevertheless. B Kakbar now really needs to nail this, as Godzilla has gone P2 with a 126.222, as B Kakbar crosses the line and he goes back into P2, so it is pole for TF Martin. But the question is, can he improve on his time? I think he would improve a little bit, not much, but can he get into the 25s? No! It's 126.104, which is absolutely electrifying. And the top 3 only separated by just over a tenth. This is going to make for some fantastic racing, I'm sure. You've got Aces as well, who is known to be quite aggressive on race starts, starting alongside Godzilla on the second row there. It's quite a gap then, down to Seb Marley in 5th. He's the best of the rest with a 127.1, and Scott did manage to move up to P7. Look at the difference between himself, Eisenborg just ahead, and Wolfman in 8th. Although Wolfman's invalidated, so he will not improve. Eisenborg is not on a flying lap, so I believe that is the starting grid, ladies and gentlemen. We have got TF Martin, pole position. Alongside him, I believe to be his teammate, B Kakbar. Just over a tenth between them, and literally, what's that? That is 15 thousandths of a second back to Godzilla in P3 there, with Aces alongside him, P4. The rest of the top 10, Seb Marley, Eisenborg, Scott, Wolfman, D Sunha, and Lost Doc. Behind them is F1 Warren, Infamous, Vans Racing, Hoot Stomach, King's Chemo and Jackalacco, and I couldn't quite see who was rounding up the back of the grid there. I think Bitmappy was one of the drivers, but I could not see who else was there, so apologies for that, but the screen was just simply too quick for me. There we go, I can see it a little bit more clearly now. So the last two, yes, it was Bitmappy and Cialda 93 who didn't actually set a time. But we know the pace of Cialda as he was the runner-up for last season's Cockpit Cam Championship. Of course, this is the second season now of our Cockpit Championship. Our champion, Ghost, is not actually racing tonight, which is disappointing. It would have been nice to see Ghost on the grid and see how he compares to the likes of TF Martin and the new driver in B Sakbar, which doesn't roll off the tongue quite as nicely in commentary as some of the others, but nothing against him. It's a brilliant name nonetheless. I'd rate it up there in my Guinness top 100 names, along with the likes of Winston and Sid Charisse. They just roll off effortlessly. They sound a little bit exotic as well. Fantastic stuff there. Right, so we're just waiting for all the drivers now. I'm assuming they're having convenience breaks using the laboratories here. The wonderful bathrooms here at Silverstone, as we await the start of the formation lap. Okay, so the driver's just on the formation lap now. Just trying to get a bit of heat into their tyres, have a little weave, get comfortable in the car as we get ready for the first pre-season race of ESRL's F1 23 adventure. We do have pre-season races for the other divisions coming up this week. PC League, my league, which I will be moderating and commentating on this year. It'll run in conjunction at the same time with our standard PS leagues. Obviously the bread and butter of ESRL, the Division 1 Championship and the Morris Michener Championship, aka Division 2. Quick shout out and an honourable mention to, of course, the late great Morris Michener, dear friend who I still miss, and of course is missed by the hearts of many people. He was a big figure within F1 sim racing, fantastic person and character, who I was absolutely honoured to be able to call my friend, as many others were, I'm sure. Hopefully we can give a race for himself and of course you, the viewers, to really get behind and enjoy as the drivers make their way to the grid. And we're going to hop on board with 4th place aces for the start of this race. And I'll pop them off for the start just so we can see exactly what is happening. As Bitmappy, unfortunately, is disqualified, as 5 red lights here at Silverstone are out, but nobody's going. And now they're going. And it's a pretty even start by the front two, but TF Mark 10 comes across to block off and Babcar, and there could be contact here. It's free wide, there is contact, but TF Mark 10 manages to stay on the circuit as he recovers to get back behind B Kakbar. Sorry, his name really does not roll smoothly off the tongue, as I believe this is Godzilla in third now. He was momentarily in the lead as the front two are battling. They're going side by side down into turn 6 here. TF Martin on the inside. I think he is going to hold it. He is, of course, on the hard tyres, so that would explain why his start was a little bit slower compared to his teammate behind him, who was on the medium compound tyres. Godzilla, I believe. I'll just have to check the names. Yes, Godzilla is in third. Eisenborg in fifth, as Aces has dropped down to fifth. Brilliant action from the front pack there off the start. There was contact, but fortunately all drivers, and especially TF Martin, who was sandwiched in the middle, managed to stay within the track, as B Sakbar was thinking about a move down the inside there, but TF Martin jinxed, debatably a little bit too late there, in order to defend his position. Godzilla is managing to keep tabs for these front two, who look like potentially they have pace, which is head and shoulders above the rest of the grid. Okay, and behind, I think that is Ace is going for a move on Eisenborg down the inside. Yes, it is. Was that a little bit too aggressive? Eisenborg did not have any space on the outside there. He had to back out the move, otherwise he potentially would have been involved in a spin himself. But nevertheless, Aces does move up in to P4, and he is now ahead of that train, which is being left a little bit by the front three. And B Sakbar will be wanting to get ahead of TF Martin, I'm sure, as soon as possible, given he is on the medium compound tyres, and as this race goes on, it's only going to play into the hands of TF Martin on those hard compound tyres if he manages to stay ahead. But he's having to do a lot of questionable weaving here to defend his position. I'm not sure B Sakbar will be happy with the etiquette shown by the young German here, as he does look to be hanging on a little bit desperately at this stage, as they all make their way through Maggots and Beckett's now, coming back onto the hangar straight. We'll see if B Sakbar can get the move done this time, as again TF Martin is weaving, but it's not going to be enough, is it, as B Sakbar has the inside line, and does he get the move done? No, TF Martin just holds it around the outside. Excuse me, this is all going on. And whilst this is all going on, Aces has actually managed to catch to the back of this little group here, and sets the fastest lap in doing so, as sorry, I got caught in between two names there. Wolfman manages to set the fastest lap. Okay, and as you can see, Godzilla now is surely licking his lips and thinking, the more these two fight, the more they're going to wear their tyres out, increase risk of contact, and that is going to help my chances. But Aces is right behind him with the DRS also, as there is a move for the lead, and that is B Sakbar. I think he's finally got past TF Martin. TF Martin is trying to fight it, even goes off the circuit momentarily. They're still side by side here now, going on to the old home straight, and B Sakbar just had to take a little bit of evasive action there. I'm sure you saw as he switches it now to the inside. Is this going to be a rerun of Verstappen and Hamilton at Silverstone? No, it's not. TF Martin swoops around the outside and keeps the lead. After all that was some fantastic driving by both pilots there. Absolutely fantastic, as Godzilla and Aces are just behind them. And then you have to go a little way back to, I think, Eisenborg. No, it's Woodman now in P5. I'm sorry we're not watching too much back there, but the battle for the lead is just absolutely outstanding here, as Martin has the inside this time, but it's going to become the outside, as B Sakbar has the inside coming up for the chicane. But TF Martin will just not give up. He is doing absolutely everything he can. Keeps the inside line, and again forces B Sakbar off the track limits. This is very questionable defending from TF Martin. It is hard, and it's borderline on questionable. B Sackbar has had to back out quite a few times, but there's a wobble from himself, and that allows Godzilla to sneak through, going down into turn 4 now. Turn 5, Godzilla is ahead, and of course, both those cars behind TF Martin will have the DRS. Excuse me. But so does Aces right behind him. And Godzilla now maybe fancying his chances against TF Martin. Aces, really, you can see there, just absolutely licking his lips. As there is a safety car. There's a safety car. Oh dear, who's that for? Is that for Seadler? See if we can find out what happened to Seadler. I'm not sure we can. I'm not sure we can find out what happened there. That's unfortunate. Okay, so safety car. I would imagine the medium runners now will come into pit. If Martin pits, he'll probably have to do a 2-stop. Therefore, I'm not too sure there is much point in him pitting at this stage, but we'll see what happens as Godzilla stays out. B Sackbar stays out. Aces pits. I think he will drop down to, well, plumb last, but if he can make those hards last, which would be not easy from here on out. By the time we go racing, I believe it'll be lap 7, lap 8, so it'll be a push, but he could do it. He could get them to last the remainder of this race. We shall see. We shall see. Okay, so I believe the safety car will be in at the end of this lap. Just giving my voice a little bit of a break because it's it's been quite a hectic race thus far. I definitely feel a little bit rusty on the comms as well, so I do apologise. Not everything is rolling off the tongue as quick or as smooth as it can be. I'm sure the more practice I get as the season starts and goes on, the better it will be. B Sackbar, I'm just going to say Sackbar for the smoothness of the stream, of course. Okay, so safety car is in this lap, as predicted. So very shortly, guys, we're going to go racing again, and our top three are going to be gearing up, I'm sure, for some more fantastic action-filled racing. As Godzilla is itching to get on with it. TF Martin just delaying as long as possible. We're just going to hop on board just to see when exactly he goes. As I think he's gone now. He has gone now. Did he catch Godzilla napping there? I think he did a little bit, but Sakbar was not napping at all, as he is right on the tail of Godzilla now, hounding down that P2 driver. So make our way through 3, and that looks to be quite a bit of lag there as they're now side by side. It was hard to tell at first with the lagging and the ghost in there, but it excuse me, it does appear that Sakbar has got through back into P2, and I'm sure he'll be on the tail of TF Martin once again in no time, as the hards do take a little longer to get back up to temperature than the medium compounds. TF Martin making his way through Cots there, taking all of the track. As I've got a bit confused here. We want to go back up to the front runners. And sorry, I'm getting a little bit confused again there, but yes, Sakbar is right on the back of TF Martin once again, and TF Martin having to go defensive there, covering his inside line. He knows any slight mistake, and Sakbar will be coming through as Godzilla has a spin there in the background. Godzilla has a spin as Aces dives down the inside of the final corner. Excuse me, and makes a position there. As going on back here, I'm just going to have to remind myself exactly who is this. As Jack Alaco is looking to get through a bunch of drivers, and actually leaves King's Gizmo, and Hoot's stomach goes a little bit wide there, goes deep off the track at 3, and Jack Alaco gaining a few positions in a few corners there. Very nicely done, as there is a safety car. Not sure who that's for. I really can't see who that's for. I'm struggling to think and see who that's for, because the two drivers that are out have been out for quite a while. Maybe Scott, could have been Scott, not too sure, but once again we have a safety car, and you would imagine now the medium runners are going to pit for fresh tyres. Otherwise, well, it would be silly not to box. If you're on the mediums now, it would be silly to not box. TF Martin, unfortunately, will have to box, and he's going to be at disadvantage here. Those medium tyres will start to go off if he puts them on now, which he's going to have to. And it's getting aggressive between the two drivers, even going into the pit lane. That's mad. Oh, Marco picks up a 5-second penalty. You fell for the trick of Sakbar there. He unfortunately had you hook, line and sinker there, my friend. Got into the mind of the young German, and that is a huge advantage now for the likes of Godzilla and Sakbar, who are right on the tail of the young German anyhow. Meanwhile, at the top, Aces, of course, who did pit during the last safety car, has inherited the lead. Vance and Efren Warren have also moved up into the podium positions, as Infamous and Eisenborg occupy 4th and 5th respectively, as Scott has left the session. I think excuse me, I think that is just a Slight connection issue. Okay, so just gonna have a little look and see who has moved up what positions at the minute. Okay, so the big winners so far. Aces doesn't immediately stick out as a big winner here in this situation because he's only moved up 3 positions, although that's good, there's drivers around him who've moved up more. But the fact is, the key point, he boxed in the first safety car for those hard compound tyres. So technically he could go to the end. I'm not sure what the pace will be like in those last sort of 4 or 5 laps, and he's going to leave himself a little bit vulnerable. But time will tell. He's got Vans behind him, who I think is yet to pit. Moved up 11 positions, yes, yet to pit. And Godzill's actually yet to pit as well. Unless there's another safety car, which, hey, there very well could be. Could Godzilla and Vans have just shot themselves in the foot here? Who knows? Time will tell on that one also, as time does tell with pretty much everything in life. Okay, so F1 War and Infamous, who have both pitted, they're up 8 positions. We'll have a look what tyres they're on, because if they're on the hard compound tyres, they should be able to go to the end. In fact, we can find out the tyres here. Yes, they're on the hard tyres. In fact, they must have boxed at the same time Aces did. So there's N. Eisenberg as well. So there's a few drivers here who, in fact, well, there's a lot of drivers who don't need to pit again now, but a few drivers actually taking very good and wise advantage of the first safety car, it seems. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Okay, so the safety car is in, folks. Ace is leaving the field this time, and he's gone early. In contrast to TF Martin, he has gone very, very early. So he makes his way through the final corner now, and once again, folks, we are racing here at ESRL. As Godzilla in P6, with TF Martin just behind him, will want to, of course, move up as quickly as possible, but there is a mistake there into turn 1 and on the exit from Godzilla, and that has allowed TF Martin, the previous race leader, to slide his way up into, I believe that's P6. Is that P6? Yes, it's P6. As Vans is dropping down the order, it seems, further up, as we've got TF Martin now making his way up into 5th position. That is another car picked up and coming up against, I'm not quite sure who that is. I think Vans is the driver just ahead of him. Meanwhile, how is Sakbar doing? He's also nipping at the heels of Eisenberg in P6. I believe... I'm not quite sure where he is, you know. As Aces... Is that Aces? No, that's not Aces. That's Aces. But it's all going on behind Aces. Look at TF Martin here. He's got two drivers battling ahead of him, but he's going to sneak through on the inside, which is now going to become the outside. And he's going to... I think he's going to squeeze his way through. I think he is. Yes, he's squeezed his way through. That's fantastic. And I'm getting all muddled up with buttons here. It's all going on. Apologies, like I said, this is all very, very new to me. I'm used to a pad, not a keyboard. So do forgive some of my dodgy cameraman skills. But I believe that is Sakbar. Yes, he is keeping tabs on me with Martin. Just has to get past the infamous, and he'll be right on his heels yet again. As just ahead, TF Martin is looking to make another position, dives down the inside. And that is a clean move from what I do believe is the McLaren driver in a Red Bull livery car. Sakbar must have dropped a position there. He must have just made a small mistake, as he's now got two cars in between himself and Martin. I thought he was going to get past the purple card there of Vans, but not this time. Not this time. Coming on to the back straight though, as Martin is looking to make yet another move. This time goes down the inside, coming towards the braking zone on the hanger straight, and that is another move for TF Martin, who I would imagine will be back in the lead very soon, as Sakbar is struggling to make his way through the cars as quickly. That being said, makes a lovely move to the inside, and that is a spin there, right by the start straight finish, and he reverses, and he takes out a car. He takes out a car on the home straight. That is appalling awareness there by Infamous. He will surely have a report lodged against him there, as Jackalacco is stationary, got himself going again, but that was an absolutely reckless rejoin. I would expect punishment for Infamous there. Absolute terrible awareness. You can't just reverse back onto the racing line on a busy grid near the start straight finish, especially so recently after a safety car restart as well. All the cars would have been bunched together. So yeah, that's not what we'd like to see here at ESRL. A bit more awareness is needed. Back to the racing, however, and Sakbar still has the one car in between himself and Martin. Don't forget Martin, the tyre situation has changed around now. Sakbar on a slightly slower, at this point of the race, hard compound tyre. And Martin, who looks under threat here, I believe this is Eisenberg. No, it's not, it's F1 Warren on the medium tyre. Got aces on those hard compound tyres, which I think went on lap... I want to say about lap 3, lap 4. He is leading Martin at the minute. But again, the different compounds means Martin is going to be quicker at this point in the race. Talking of quicker, Sakbar is quicker than F1 Warren. And he pops his car into third position. Rear end complaining a little bit there under load, but Sakbar does fantastically to catch rear end and prevent any sort of spin. He can now get his head down and focus on chasing after TF Martin. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, obviously with the different tyres on the cars at the minute, the different driving styles. TF Martin very aggressive. Sakbar seems to be a little bit more of a forward-thinking driver. Shown brilliant awareness a few times actually to back out of situations with the German driver. If he didn't, I believe it would have been an incident in the race, as Chuck LeGreg would say. Meanwhile, Ace is starting to look a little bit vulnerable here now. He has Martin right behind him, on those yellow wall medium shoes, who just sets the fastest lap. We're into the 129s now, folks. Things are starting to get a little bit hotter, and TF Martin, I think, is going to dive here, but Aces covers that inside very nicely. But TF Martin just says, thank you, I'll go around the outside of you, sir. I believe he is going to get the DRS as well, coming on to the back straight. We'll have a little look. And he does. So, obviously, did overtake Aces, but he did it after the detection zone. Aces did try to fight it, but to no avail. And what Sakbar needs to do now is catch up to Aces as quick as possible so Martin doesn't run away with this. I know the tyre situation is different on both. The tyres will come to Sakbar as the race goes on, and you have to imagine in about 5 or 6 laps Martin's tyres will start to drop off just a little bit, but we'll see if he does any tyre management. If he is capable of tyre management, we know he's a very aggressive driver and goes all out 100% of the time, so it's going to be interesting to see. We're currently on lap 15, so those last sort of 5-6 laps I think are going to be crucial for Sakbar. And Aces as well, who isn't out with this by any stretch of the imagination. If he can keep in DRS range of TF Martin, he'll be in a position to pounce once his tyres become the preferred racing tyre towards the end, the latter stages of the race. Sakbar does seem to be closing up a little bit. Of course, does have slightly fresher tyres as Marco. TF Martin goes extremely deep there. Aces does have the DRS, I believe. No, he doesn't. Must have just been outside the 1 second zone. As was Sakbar by the looks of it, at the detection point. But this could be a fantastic 3-car battle between these 3 drivers here. All fantastic drivers in their own right, but extremely different styles. Excuse me, slight hiccup. See what else is going back. Who is this in P4? This is Wolfman in P4. And we're going to go down to this battle here. This is the battle for P5. It's Lostock, Eisenberg and F1 Warren. With F1 Warren at the minute in P5, but not for long. As F1 Warren, Eisenberg, sorry, comes through, and it could be a double loss of position for F1 Warren as Lostock goes through on the inside. But Warren comes back at him. It's not going to be enough though. It is going to be enough as F1 Warren does keep hold a second position. Eisenberg moving up to 5th and Lostock a double. Sorry, just single. Well, actually no, he stayed exactly where he was in P7. Nice little battle there between those 3 drivers. Meanwhile, Dunkar goes a little bit wide there as there is yellow flag in sector 1 and 3. I believe that's Godzilla on the pits. Has he retired? I don't think so. But we're going to go right back up to the top here as Sakbar is right on the tail of Aces, and he's going to go on the outside. He's going to use his battery, and he's got so much more straight line speed there. Slightly misses the apex, but manages to keep it within the white line as we saw on board with Aces there. Now TF Martin really is going to be vulnerable. He's on the medium tyres, which are going to start to drop off soon, but Sakbar gets a 3-second time penalty. That could change everything come the end of this race, as Infamous also picks up a 3-second time penalty to add to his 5-second time penalty for reversing on to the racing line and colliding with Jack O'Laka, excuse me. Okay, so Sakbar having a tiny little wobble there. Ace is looking to get a little bit disjointed to those 2 cars now. Woodman in the background, you can see him just lurking there. As Sakbar, you would imagine, is going to try and make a move sooner rather than later on TF Martin. He's right up his chuff now. This is the moment, folks, I'm pretty sure, as Martin squeezes and squeezes again, and tries to take a wider line, looking for the cutback now, going into the right-hander. Who can get on the power quicker and smoother here? It's Sakbar. As Marco has a little wobble. Is that going to allow Aces back in? No, Aces is still just a little bit too adrift for these two to be able to take advantage of any small minor mistake at the moment. Okay, so the DRS is wide open for Martin. He chooses the outside line on this occasion. Sakbar has got it covered on the inside though. Is Martin going to dive down the inside? No, he's not. He's going to think better of it. It's a small jinx and there's a small lockup. Little correction, well, quite a big correction on the steering wheel then. Keeps Marco pointing in a straight line. I've got to admit, are his tyres already starting to wear? A few wobbles there coming towards the last few corners of the lap. Ace is still not close enough really to take advantage of that, but of course with Sakbar having the 3-second time penalty, let's have a quick look at the timings here. Aces is still in contention for P2. In fact, Martin's got a 5-second penalty, so this would give the win to Aces as TF Martin absolutely launches it down the inside and once again pushes his competitor off the track. The driving standards of the lads so far in this race, although quick, have been extremely questionable. And to be honest, a few times over the limit. It's not the first time he's shoved his competitor. In fact, Sakbar off the track at all. It's happened numerous times now. The stewards, I'm sure, will be having a word for Marco afterwards, just asking him to tone it down a bit. He's got great pace, but yeah, he gets a little bit too aggressive. And talking of aggressive, there was contact once again, but I feel Marco was squeezing Sakbar over once again, and Sakbar this time was like, you know what, mate, I'm not standing for this anymore. You're killing your own medicine. You're having a taste of your own medicine. As the lapped car there does stay out the way for the front three drivers, and I say front three because Aces has got visibly closer to these two, as once again they battle away. This has been the story of the race so far. The McLaren drivers, again, I can't say for sure if they are the McLaren drivers. I haven't got the standings right in front of me, etc. But I would appear they are. It would appear so that they are teammates, but they're battling really hard, and TF Martin goes off track, doesn't take him on with him on this occasion, and these two are now running up into Cops, and Sakbar is getting right in the slipstream there with Aces just behind, really starting to close up now, and Marco goes a little bit wide. Sakbar gets much better drive going into Maggots and Beckett's, and they're side by side now. Marco on the inside, which is going to become the outside, and it's Sakbar, I think, has just got the advantage here. Who's got DRS? Is TF Martin with the DRS, but Aces also has DRS, and they're going to be free wide down the hanger straight going into the right hander. Who's going to come out this in the lead? It's TF Martin as Aces takes the position of Sakbar and moves himself up into P2. Of course, this is a net P1 with the penalties. Fantastic racing there by all three. Marco keeping it respectable this time as he zooms away now as we enter lap 21. This is getting very spicy and interesting. Sakbar not diving down the inside of Aces there, despite I'm sure having tyres in much better condition than the Aston Martin of Aces, as both drivers get the DRS and they are going to start to close to TF Martin, but just run out of straight. Aces goes a little bit wide there, going a little bit defensive on the loop of the right hander at turn 7 as we make our way down now to Cops. and both of these drivers once again will get DRS down the hangar straight, I'm sure. Just have a quick check of the times. Yes, they're both comfortably within DRS range, and this is going to be interesting. I'll tell you what, we're going to hop on board with Sakbar for this, because it could get interesting yet again. TF Martin, as long as these two keep battling, he's looking pretty safe out there at the minute. Seems like his tyres have gone through the grading stage, but he had a little wobble on the exit there, on the exit of the hangar straight, and that's allowed these two cars to just close up that little bit more. They must be within about 3-4 tenths of TF Martin now. No, still, oh yeah, no, it's pretty close now. Really is getting pretty close. And Aces goes a little bit wide there on the exit of 1, through 2, into 3. Aces a little bit wide again, and we can see Marco, his rear tyres really complaining and starting to wear out now. Giving a little wobble as soon as he gets on the power at every single exit, it seems. Woodman in the background there, he's actually not disbanded from these guys. He's showing very good pace this season, is Wolfman. Have to give credit where it's due. Sakbar going wide on the entry there, trying to make it nice and tight on the exit, carry as much minimum speed as possible, cut back in and get that exit speed. Now Aces and Sakbar really need to be a little bit closer to TF Martin, going through Maggots and Beckett's. Let's see if they can follow a little bit closer on this lap, and give us another 3 wide situation, which was thoroughly entertaining last lap. But I got a feeling they're just a little bit too far behind on this lap. That they are, as Aces was looking very close, and for a second I thought he may have been contemplating a move. Sakbar not contemplating a move there. He's happy to just stick behind at this point, I believe, as we only have, how many laps? It's going to be 4 laps left now, including this one. Ace is looking in prime position to take the victory in that early stop onto the hard compound tyres. I think is going to pay off here. Of course, on track position, these 3 will want to finish first, but at the exit 4 there, Aces did go a little bit deep, and that is allowed Sakbar to power through into P2, as once again he goes side by side with TF Martin. I feel like 90% of this race has been the two teammates going side by side, and Sakbar gets a much better line. And next there, look at the difference of speed, powering through before we even get to Cops. TF Martin is on the outside, and he's going to go for it on the outside, and you know what, he almost did it there, to be fair to him, and actually gave Sakbar enough space. But who's going to get the DRS? I think it's going to be TF Martin, because the detection point for this straight is in a funny position, and yes, it is going to be TF Martin. Sakbar is going to defend the inside line and slot back in to P2. But once again, it's got very, very hot here. I can't believe the exit speed and the line of Sakbar out of turn 7 on to the old home straight there. That was lightning. And they're still going at it, these two. As Sakbar moves over to the left, Marco is defending the inside, but again just does not look stable. Those medium tyres really are almost shot, and Sakbar is getting very aggressive now, returning the favour shown by his competitor all race, but still manages to leave a little bit of room on the outside. It's not going to be enough, however, as TF Martin is going to breeze back past thanks to the power of the DRS on this year's game, but goes a little bit wide and lets Sakbar back into battle in Aces, because of the battling between these two for the last lap and a half, is right back in there for the on-track win. Martin trying to break the toe, a little bit unnecessarily there, I think, but nevertheless does go for it anyway. And right behind him is Sakbar, and this time he'll get the DRS and will power through, I'm sure, with relative ease. Long before we get to the braking zone, he's going to pull over to the inside. Martin is squeezing him right to the limit. Sakbar almost had to go onto the grass there, but just about avoids it. And this time it is Martin on the inside. Then there's more contact between the two. Martin dives through on the inside and retakes P1. Again, questionably though, it seems he's unable to take the position cleanly, no matter how much respect Sakbar gives him. It's certainly making for great viewing. It's a very feisty contest, but you've got to admit, Martin does look a little bit out of control at times. As talking of out of control, Sakbar has a little wobble on the exit of 4, but he's got the DRS. He's picking up the slipstream, and what was that? What was that by Martin? Was that a clear brake check? We were on board there. We saw that clear. That looked like a clear brake check to me, and he's broken his wing as well. That was reckless, and quite frankly, you deserve that if that was on purpose, Martin. You cannot brake check your competitors. That is unforgivable. What that has done now has given Sakbar the lead on the track. But it's going to be Ace's P1, I believe. I just want to have a look at the penalties, because is it a 3-second penalty? It is a 3-second penalty, so I mean, he could break that 3-second gap, providing Aces stays out of the DRS, but Aces is within the DRS, so Aces is going to take the win. Sakbar has managed to pull enough of a gap on Woodman to finish P2 still, but I think it is going to be Aces who wins our first pre-season race of the season, barring any catastrophes, of course. But yeah, what a very entertaining race we have. Questionable driving standards at times, but nevertheless, Sakbar, Martin and Aces have put on a fantastic show, and Godzilla at the start as well. We haven't seen too much of the battling in the midfield, so I do apologise it's not had much coverage, but the front has just kept us gripped. It would have been silly to turn away from it. There was that much action and swapping of the positions. But we did capture that nice little battle between Eisenberg, Lostock and F1 Warren. The battle for 5th, although it will be for 4th, I believe. I know there's some penalties there, but Martin must have a huge amount of penalties now. As Sakbar is going to cross the line to take the on-track win, but it's Aces who is going to win the race from Sakbar in P2. Woodman P3. Eisenberg is going to be P4. And I dare contemplate where Martin is going to drop down to with his big amount of penalties. P6 so far, P7 now, and P7 is where he's going to finish. Godzilla 8th, Seb Marley 9, Vans 10 rounds up the top 10. Okay, so I'm just going to end the stream there, folks, but thank you very much for joining us, or if you're watching this back, thank you very much. I am still getting to grips with the controls of PC and dusting off those cobwebs of the commentary, so expect some improvements in the future, but for now, folks, that is all.